Heading to the beach is a must for so many of us here on Cape Cod, and it's lots of fun. But for lifeguards, it's not just a day at the beach. That's why the town of Barnstable hosts Swim and Safety Week at beaches across town, highlighting many of the rescue techniques and safety measures lifeguards take every day.
The primary rescuer will always grab the rescue board. The secondary rescuer will grab the tube on a rescue into the water, with other guards coming and taking over this lifeguard chair. And as you can see, if you look all the way down, the lifeguards then will stand up in the towers to oversee and take over each zone, so the people that are in the water can actually still be watched during the time that they're swimming. The primary rescuer should be the first person there on a rescue board. We're going to have her, she's going to go passive. Currently she's active, and she's going to go passive. So he's going to have to flip the board over, reach across. He has to make sure that he places her correctly on the board. And then he's going to turn the board around, and that board is going to be facing forward, so he doesn't have to do it while she's on the rescue board. He will flip her onto the board. This is not an easy thing. This is painful for the victim, to be honest with you. Then he will turn, get her on the board, making sure that she's located correctly on the rescue board. Then he will slide up the back of the rescue board to paddle in. The secondary rescuer will make sure that if they need any assistance during that time, if the victim was maybe a little heavier than the actual lifeguard is able to pull them up, then that person would assist in that. Okay, we're simulating that this person is passive, which means they're semi-conscious to unconscious. As they come ashore, we're actually going to fabricate that they are unconscious completely. And you're going to see both rescuers help bring the victim ashore. There are many different ways to handle bringing a victim on shore. So obviously we're doing an active coming in, not a passive exit from the water. So as she approaches the victim, as she's approaching, she listens to make sure that everything's okay. She's listening for at least, she's looking for the chest to rise. She's feeling on her side of her cheek to see if there's any breath, and she's assessed that there is no breathing. And so now we're going to try and give 2 rescue breaths. Okay, the breath doesn't go in the first time, so they're going to try again. They're simulating this. And as soon as we have the mask ready, the mask would go in place. Okay, there is no breathing, there is no pulse. So they start CPR. Now, 2-man CPR is done differently than the layperson. Our lifeguards are trained in professional rescuer CPR. So the CPR that is done is 15 to 2. So they'll do 15 compressions and then give 2 breaths. Making sure the person that is actually doing the compressions is making sure that they can feel the breath going inside the chest, so that they make sure that the breathing is effective during that time. CPR will be continued until rescue shows up to take over. And the CPR, the actual compressions, we would be bringing a AED down. All of our lifeguards are trained with the AED. Unfortunately, I did not bring a training AED for them to utilize today, so we cannot use a regular AED on a practice victim. So once the person that's giving compressions will then switch eventually into letting the person that they're working with know that they're going to complete their compressions, and then they're going to switch so that the other person takes over. Again, doing 15 with 2 breaths. And again, they will continue this until EMS arrives, or another lifeguard could come in and take over. Okay, she's entering the water because she realizes the person dove into the water and has a possible neck or back injury. So you'll see that the approach is a lot different than it is on a regular rescue, in that she's going very slowly up to the victim because she needs to make sure that he's stabilized completely. She's doing the head chin splint, and in doing that, she's making sure she's constantly moving. You don't realize it, but she's moving the victim as much as possible, and she's moving him into the surf so that the neck and spine are kept as straight as possible. Now, the secondary rescuer brings in the backboard. The backboard is then placed straight down and under the victim, coming up. One of the secondary rescuers has stabilized the neck while they're putting the straps on the victim. They do this in the water. It's a much simpler way to put them on. What they're doing, they're going to take those head immobilizers, they're going to go on either side of the ears, and that will hold the victim solidly in place. So that person, their back is completely flat, their neck is completely flat, and then this will immobilize the neck. These go right above the shoulders, over the ears, on either side that they're fastened. And then there's a strap that will go across the head to hold that in place. And that's what Mark's putting on him right now. Then they will bring the victim in. And communication is one of the most important things throughout this. You'll hear the lifeguards talking to each other. The person at the head is constantly communicating with the victim. Even if they're unconscious, they will continue to talk to the victim. They say the last thing that people have go is hearing. Even when you're unconscious, sometimes you can hear. So it's for a calming effect, so they know what's happening to them as they're brought up on shore. And at this point, the rescue, we would hope, is here. Fortunately, in the town of Barnstable, we have 5 fire districts, so the response time is less than in most communities. People are absolutely amazed from other towns that our ability to have a rescue show up so quickly. We also do a lot of drills with the fire departments as well, and with doing that, they would come in and they'd assist the lifeguards, and then would work together as a team. So there's a team in not only doing any rescue, there's also a team with the rescue department. So the fire departments, when they come in, act as part of our team, and we act as part of their team until we get them all the way to the rescue. So today's a good day to practice all this with a little bit of surf happening out here, and it's good for the guards to be able to practice.
You said this is so good for the lifeguards, but also I've noticed a lot of people, a lot of beachgoers are sort of gathering around. They're very interested in what's happening. Is it also good for the people at the beach to go through Sun and Safety Week and to witness the safety demonstrations?
Yeah, it's important that they don't realize. I think a lot of people, I get a lot of, a lifeguard, they just sit in the tower and they just collect the sun. Well, that is absolutely not true. They're constantly watching the water. We rotate them in and out of the tower. We have procedures that are set up for rotation to make sure that coverage is constantly. They have specific zones that they have to practice in. We do mock rescues. We do surf and safety. We do training. And these are all skills that they have to know. If something happens, and God forbid, we hope it never does, and we never have to use any of these skills, but they need to be ready to act and have the skills necessary to perform the duties required.
And to stay calm in a situation
Yes.
that can be very tense and very high pressure.
It is very high pressure, and when an actual incident is occurring, because we've mocked so many times and we practice and practice, it becomes second nature. It's like, they talk about muscle memory. It's the same kind of thing, mental memory, in that they continually realize what it is they're supposed to do, and they don't have to think too much. I know that they are thinking, but at the same time, it'll come right to them because they practice it so many times. One of the things that we don't talk about here that we do talk about in the program is the sun safety part of things. And, the Glenna Cole Foundation has done a lot. At our trainings, we do a lot on sun safety. They do talk about it in the swim lessons. We don't really do a drill on sun safety, but, again, out there in the community, don't forget, if you do get to the beach and you've forgotten your sunscreen, Glenna Cole Foundation has donated that, and you're going to be seeing some new things coming from the Glencoe Fund. We're partnering with them to put up some awnings at Craigville and Dowses, so stay tuned. Some good things are coming.
Can't wait to see those.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Patty.